Gosh, dude, I'm gonna open this video up by saying that Connor Bedard is a phenomenal hockey player, and that, like most of you who are watching this video, I absolutely adore the heck out of this guy and his story. Fantastic generational prospect, such a good player, we all know the talent he brings. But the problem that has persisted over the past few games with Connor Bedard and his deployment is something that I think we need to talk about. So let's just go over the profile right here. Connor Bedard has, 4 points in his last 5 games played, 7 points in his last 10. In this season's worth of play, he's leading the Blackhawks with 23 points in 27 games played. Unfortunately, Connor Bedard is not the immediate point-per-game guy like Connor McDavid was when McDavid made his debut with the Oilers. You could very much say that the Oilers back in 2015-16 were better than the Blackhawks of 23-24, and that wouldn't be all too inaccurate. This Blackhawks team is down in the dumps, and after losing out on a guy like Corey Perry, they lost out on Taylor Hall as well. They had to make trades to get some extra guys. Anthony Beauvillier is now on this team, and he's not really doing all too great either. And as we had talked about in the video earlier today, there are extra players like Murphy, like Seth Jones, like Nick Foligno who have needed to step up and take bigger leadership roles. As for Connor Bedard, you could very well say, what is his role on the team? Well, you could say that Connor Bedard shouldn't really need to be the veteran leadership type guy because he's brought in here to be the best version of himself and score a boatload of points. And for the most part, he has done that. Maybe not to the extent that some people thought. Some people were projecting, like, oh, could he get like 100 points? And I don't know if that's really a thing anymore because that is a lot of freaking points. I know the NHL is trending towards more 100-point scores nowadays, but still. Anyways, though, Connor Bedard on this version of the Chicago Blackhawks has not really been producing as much as he probably could have if he was on another team. That's not really his fault, but at the end of the day, it is something that should be noted. If you wanted to talk about Bedard and say, hey, the Blackhawks, what is their role in all of this, right? Chicago, your role should be to give Bedard as much development time as he can handle. Give him the minutes, give him the top power play, give him the first line, make this guy a stud, and surround him with NHL talent that is at least beneficial to helping him proceed in that respect, right? Which is why, if you take a look at some of the Bedard game logs, you'll see that in some of these games, hey, guess what? He's getting... Okay, you can't see that. Let's try to move everything. There you go, you can see that now. Look at some of these games. Bedard is getting 20 minutes of time on ice, 3-1 loss against the Winnipeg Jets, 19 minutes as they lose 4-1 to the Wild, 22 minutes as the Blackhawks lose in a shootout to Nashville, 21 minutes as the Hawks lose 4-2 to the Capitals. He's getting points in these games too. 2 assists against Washington, 1 assist against Minnesota, the only goal against Winnipeg. But in the games where Chicago actually wins, you got 1-0 over Anaheim on Thursday, the 7th. You've got 3-1 over St. Louis, Saturday the 9th. Connor Bedard gets 16 minutes of time on ice in these games. And if you actually look at the list as to how everything's going out, who's going out there, who's sitting on the bench, Connor Bedard is not being played in these minutes. He's not being played in situations where the Blackhawks are winning late, and he's getting benched. We have ourselves an article on hockeypatrol.com that goes over this particular detail. Connor Bedard benched, Chicago Blackhawks head coach reveals decision to bench the rookie superstar, published by Tyler Ball earlier today. Article's going to be linked in the description if you want to go ahead and read this. In recent games, Connor Bedard has been left on the bench during key moments late in games. Due to the Blackhawks' lack of overall success, not allowing Bedard to play in key moments for development has confused many people. Today, Blackhawks head coach Luke Richardson explained the organization's reasoning. When they're close and we have the lead, I think we've been using guys like Dickinson's line and Tyler Johnson's and Kurashev, guys like that have a little more experience to play in a 5-on-6 situation at this level. So, Bedard is probably not a part of that equation yet. But you know, he's a great player, and he's got a good eye-hand coordination with stick abilities that, at some point, we'd like him to be involved in that, but right now, that probably plays into ice time as well at the end of the game. And you might be looking at this and saying, okay, well, if Connor Bedard is not being used in these 5-on-6 empty net situations where the Hawks have the lead, where exactly is the other ice time going? Well, yeah, He's exactly right. If you look at some of the game logs here, this is the 3-1 win, Chicago over St. Louis the other day. And if you take a look at some of the game logs and ice time, Connor Bedard, 16 minutes and 54 seconds on ice, and you have Jason Dickinson with 18:08. Not to mention Nick Foligno, 17:54, Philip Kurashev, 18:23. Even Taylor Radish had 17 minutes of time on ice per game. Most of Connor Bedard's ice time is actually coming on the power play. He's getting only 12 minutes at even strength. Jason Dickinson has nearly 4 more minutes at evens 5-on-5 play, and I guess that includes the 6-on-5 play as well. Connor Bedard is not being given the keys to the car here, and you have to wonder where exactly the philosophy with that lies. Is he ready to play in the NHL? Yeah. Is he dominating in the NHL? Maybe not to the extent that we thought, but is there room for him to still grow? I'd say yeah. You've got a lot of Blackhawks fans going out there and responding to this idea that Luke Richardson is going out there and saying that this team is not really using Bedard to the best that he could be used by. And that's not even like, oh, they're trying to be conservative, they're trying to limit his ice time, whatever. It's straight up, you're playing other guys more than Bedard in situations where Bedard probably has the most to learn. Like, when you're up 1-0 against the Anaheim Ducks, the Ducks are not a great team this year, by the way. They're 10-16, like, their record is not great, they've been losing a bunch. When you're up 1-0 against that team, who do you think is going to benefit more from this situation? Jason Dickinson or Connor Bedard? Like, I get it, you're trying to still win hockey games, but really, is that the goal for Chicago right now? Is that the priority, or should that be the priority for Chicago right now? Like, I don't know what's happening. If their plan is to go out there and win Macklin Celebrini, get another first overall pick, then why limit Connor Bedard? Why hold this guy back? Why say, all right, well, our priority on this day is to win the hockey game, so we're going to throw Jason Dickinson out there. Connor Bedard, you're stable to the bench. I'm sorry, but that's the way it's going to go. Our priority is to win this game, so Dickinson, Kurashev, Taylor Radish, go out there, guys. Have at him. Because if you're really trying to prioritize the long term, you're trying to get better draft picks, you're trying to get better prospects, then letting Bedard get those minutes and experience earlier on and actually proceeding with that is going to help more, I feel. Like, this should have been the keys to the car season for Bedard, but now you're actually prioritizing winning games in the short term, and you're playing guys like Jason Dickinson and Tyler Johnson over and over again, instead of giving Bedard those tough minutes. Like, I get it, the coach goes out there and says, yeah, we could probably, like, do that later, but right now, like, ice time, we'd rather give Bedard sheltered minutes, or we'd rather play other guys because we want to prioritize winning. That feels like it doesn't align with what exactly the Blackhawks' plan was heading into the year. They just fire-sailed everybody. They were all trading everybody away. Like, they didn't really put themselves in the best position to win. So prioritizing wins now over Connor Bedard's development and giving this guy such limited ice time at even strength, that doesn't feel right at all. And I feel like a lot of Blackhawks fans are in a similar boat. Here's the top reply on this entire Twitter thread. This season is certainly about development. Development of the young players. You learn by doing. Sometimes that doing comes with failure. I completely disagree with this assessment. Thanks for asking the question. So, there you go. That's the Connor Bedard update right here. The guy's getting benched because they're prioritizing the play of guys like Jason Dickinson and others, but yeah, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Connor Bedard and his season so far. He's been getting points. Like, he's been all right, but the thing is, if you're going to use this season as fodder, if you're going to use this season as the 1 year to just get everything to the wall, tell Connor Bedard this is how he's supposed to play, this is what the NHL is like, then why not give him every opportunity to learn? So by the time Macklin Celebrini comes onto the team next year, by the time Taylor Hall is allowed to play again, and you have a first line of Celebrini, Bedard, Hall, all first overall picks, then maybe you'll be able to say, all right, Connor Bedard is now a Connor McDavid light type of guy who gets 80 to 90 points or whatever, and he plays those dire minutes. He plays the last minutes of the game. He is the most important player on the team by far. He is the most prioritized player on the team by far. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Connor Bedard consistently getting benched. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.